Whoa, it's bright. It's super bright.
Kia ora, good morning everyone, Richard here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to have a look at this very cute little studio light, Weeylite Ninja 300. But before we start, just a quick disclaimer. Weeylite sent me this sample for review, but just like my previous Viltrox and Weeylite reviews, they only send me the sample and it is not a sponsored video. So what I'm going to say is completely my honest opinion about this product. But if you're interested in buying this light after watching this review, you can use my affiliate link. I put it in below. So you can get a 10% discount if you want to purchase this light or any product from Viltrox or Weeylite from their official website. First thing I have to mention about this Weeylite Ninja 300 is it is a very small studio light. Look at how small it is. To give you some idea, this is the aperture Amaranth 100D, which is also a very small LED light, but look at them side by side. You can see the Ninja 300 is considerably smaller than this aperture light. This light is also pretty lightweight. The weight is just under 1 kilogram. But despite the small size and the lightweight and also the price is very affordable, the build quality of this light is actually very good. A lot of metal parts are used. It doesn't really feel plasticky at all, unlike most other studio light that is around or under $200. So overall, the build quality is definitely very good, very solid. This Ninja 300 uses a L-shaped metal bracket for you to attach this light to a light stand. Because the light is so small and so lightweight, the bracket only attaches to one side of the light, instead of, for example, the Ninja 400 that will attach to both sides of the light. You can adjust the angle very easily, very smoothly, and then you can lock it up very securely. So overall, the design of this L-shaped bracket is very good and a lot better than most other lights around this price range. There's also an optional handle that you can attach to the bottom of this bracket for you to handhold the light. At the front, we have the COB LED light here and also the mount for light modifier. But while this mount looks like a Bowens mount, it is not a standard Bowens mount because the size of this mount is actually quite a bit smaller than the standard Bowens mount. I believe the reason is because Weeylite, they want to keep the overall size of this light small, so they choose not to use the standard Bowens mount. There's a reflector that comes with the light that you can mount onto this mount, and Weeylite also made a softbox VP45, which is a 60cm octagon softbox for this light, which also fits on the Ninja 200 because Ninja 200 is basically the same light as this Ninja 300, but the Ninja 200 is a bi-color light. Since Weeylite hasn't sent me their softbox, so I can't really try it out myself, but by looking at the photos and judging the size, I think that VP45 is a very good match for a small light like this Ninja 300, especially when you want to just handhold the light. However, if you really want to use the Bowens mount, there is a Bowens mount adapter that you can get. That is not a standard accessory, so you have to get it separately or you have to choose a kit that includes one. This adapter is made of plastic, including the mount for the light stand, so it doesn't look quite as durable as this metal L-shaped bracket. So I probably wouldn't recommend you to mount any monster size softbox onto this Bowens mount adapter. But if you want to use a medium-sized softbox, it should be okay. I tried that, it seems okay. Just be a little bit careful when you do that. At the back of the light, we have the control buttons, switches, and a dial, and also a pretty large and nice display. There are lots of information that is displayed on this OLCD screen, and probably more than the info that you need, because strangely, even though this is a daylight balance light, it still displays the color temperature. So when I first received the light, I saw the color temperature there and I forgot that this is a daylight balance light. So I was trying to figure out how to change the color temperature, which of course I can't change it. But despite that, I do really love this display. Having reviewed a couple of different studio lights recently from a few different brands, which all has the display at the back of the light, this Ninja 300's display is easily the best in terms of both quality and also the size. It also makes the light feel a lot more premium than a light that only costs $170. In terms of control, we have an on-off switch here for you to turn on, turn off the light. We have the dial here for you to adjust the brightness of the light and also change some of the settings. And there is a M button here for you to change the light into different effects. So there are about 12 different effects that is available on this Weeylite Ninja 300. The effects are pretty standard and I think they are okay, mostly because it is a daylight balance light, so there's the limitation that the light cannot change the color. Long press this M button and there are a few extra settings. You can do the firmware update by using the USB-C port here. The USB-C port is only for firmware update. It cannot be used to power the light. And you can also turn on or turn off the cooling fan. The cooling fan, Weeylite called it an ultra quiet design. I'm not too sure if I would 100% agree with that. It is a little bit louder than the cooling fan on most other studio light that I've used recently. I can understand why, because it is such a compact studio light, so I'm not surprised if the cooling fan has to work just a little bit harder to keep the temperature down. But anyway, it's not a super quiet fan. It's also not very loud. If you are filming outdoor, you probably wouldn't hear it, but I just want to bring up in case it is something that is very important to you. And on this side of the light, there are two mounting screws here. So what are they for? I'm going to talk about it next. There are two ways for you to power this Ninja 300. You can either use the provided AC power adapter to power the light. So this is perfect if you are shooting indoor, but if you want to shoot outside or just not want to limit it by having to plug in the light into the wall, there's also an optional battery adapter or battery carrier as we like call it, which is a battery plate that you can screw onto the side of the light. So just like this, and then you can mount it onto the light very securely as well. And now you just need to attach the cable to connect the battery carrier to the back of the light, and then you can install two Sony MPF style battery and use it to power the light. And I really like this design for a few reasons. The battery carrier is not just a cheap plastic adapter. There's a very nice display here which will tell you the status of the battery, and it can also be used to charge the battery as well using a USB power source that you connect to the bottom of this battery carrier. And I just really like how you can very easily and securely connect this battery carrier onto the light, and also the overall size of the light still remain pretty compact once you attach the battery carrier and the batteries onto the light. However, even though I really like this battery carrier, there are two things that I want to complain a little bit about it. The first thing is, when you have the battery mounted on the battery carrier, you can see there is a little bit of movement that is possible. Usually you wouldn't really notice it. For example, if you put it on the light stand, you probably wouldn't even know that at all. But if you are walking around or running around with this light on your hand, then you may feel that. Fortunately, there's a very easy fix for that. You just need to put a little maybe rubber or silicone pad onto the battery slot, just stick it there, and that can largely eliminate any kind of movement that is possible. The second thing that I don't really like is there's a switch on the battery carrier, so you have to flick it to the different position, depends on whether you want to charge the battery or use the battery to power the light. Also, when you finish shooting, you have to remove the battery from the carrier, otherwise the display on the battery carrier will drain the battery. So ideally, I would love to not have such a switch, or at least I would love to have an off position, so at least when I finish shooting, I don't have to remove the battery from the carrier every time. But despite my complaints, I still really love this battery carrier design. I think it is a great companion to this Ninja 300. And another reason why I really like it is because most filmmakers and photographers would probably have some spare NPF battery that is sitting around. And even if you don't, these batteries are in general quite a bit cheaper compared to the other special batteries like the V-mount battery. So while the NPF battery may not have the largest capacity or output power, but for example, the pair of F970 battery like this one I mounted on the light, the total capacity is around 100 watt-hour. So if you do the math, it should be able to power the light at full power for a little bit over an hour. Now, I have not tried to do a test and fully charge it and see how long it really can last when you're running at full power. But from my experience, it should not be too far from that. So that's why I think these NPF batteries are a very cost-effective option for a small light like this Weeylite Ninja 300. There are multiple ways how you can control the light. The first is to use the controls at the back of the light, which I already talked about. And then there is an optional remote control that you can buy separately. And then there's the third way. You can use the smartphone app and you pair with the light using Bluetooth, and this would allow you to control the light remotely from your smartphone. You can control the light, multiple lights at the same time. The Weeylite app is quite well designed. All the features that you can think of is available there, and you can also control multiple lights or multiple group of lights pretty easily. Okay, now let's talk about the light output from this Ninja 300. And just to repeat myself again, this Ninja 300 is a 80 watt daylight balance light outputting at 5600K, which is the color temperature of the sun at midday. According to the factory, the CRI and TLCI rating are both 95 plus, and to my eyes, the light from this Ninja 300 looks very nice and very similar to the other daylight balance light that I have with me. Maximum brightness is 7800 lumen, which is really great for such a compact 80 watt light. But if this number doesn't really mean a lot to you, let me show you a quick test that I did in my garden. This is what my garden looks like at night. It's pretty dark. At first, I want to show you what it would look like if I light it up using a pocketable LED light panel, which I think a lot of you guys would have. So I use the LumeCube panel, which is one of my brightest pocketable LED light, and I output it at 100% power and it only light up my garden a little bit. And now I swap to the Ninja 300 and you can see there is a huge difference. The little Ninja 300 can light up my garden completely. Even if you are shooting on a bright sunny day, it is still bright enough to create some nice field light if you are shooting in backlit condition. So since this light can be battery powered, I can see myself using it in the future when I am shooting weddings instead of using my camera flash. This Weeylite Ninja 300 is not the most typical LED light. If you are planning to add a light to your indoor setup, maybe your YouTube setup, or just not planning to move the light around and keep it indoor, you're not planning to take it with you and do some outdoor video filming, then this Ninja 300 is probably not the best choice for you. The compact size of the Ninja 300 does bring you a few disadvantages, such as the louder than usual cooling fan noise and having to use the plasticky Bowen's mount adapter. And if you are just shooting indoors and not going to take it outdoor with you, the smaller size of the Ninja 300 also doesn't really give you much advantage. However, if you are planning to use the light outdoor quite a bit, if you want a small, lightweight battery power setup for traveling, especially if you don't have a big team or you're just shooting all by yourself, then I think this Ninja 300 is a fantastic light. While it does come with a nice carry case, I don't think you really need that because it is so small and compact. You can probably just put it inside your normal camera bag, so you don't have to carry another carry case with this Ninja 300. The build quality of this Ninja 300 is much better than most other light that is around the same price. The brightness is also pretty good. And because the light is so small and so lightweight, I could really shoot some photos or video with the camera on one hand and the Ninja 300 on the other hand.